Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our interview with Ahmad Javaid. Ahmad is a cybersecurity strategist and senior manager at Mekdam Technology, which is based in Qatar. He is also a chair for the GRCConnect Middle East community established by OneTrust. And today we will discuss topic related to a role of risk management in producing the business value through IT investment. Ahmad, thank you for coming to our interview today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure too. I think with your background, we will have a very thoughtful conversation on what's going on in cybersecurity, digital trust, so that you can share some your best tips with our members. Ahmad, can you perhaps tell us a short story about your career path and what led you to your current role?
Yeah, first of all, once again, thank you very much, Boris, for inviting me on this very well-connecting community of risk professionals. I myself practicing in this field from past couple of decades, particularly in the region of Middle East. So I started my professional career starting from, as a data analyst in Ernst & Young, which is one of the big four company. And then I grew up, a consultancy practice within that, which includes a digital forensics, the technology and security risk services practice, and so on. And then when I spent quite a lot of good time in banking, in different roles, particularly covering, establishing an IT audit function, establishing business continuity function as a head, and then I executed several, the programs in part of oil and gas customer, as part of the oil and gas industry as well. And now I'm from past few years, I switched myself towards the technology companies, where I'm currently driving a cybersecurity and emerging technologies business as part of Mekdam Group. It's a group of companies based out in Qatar, owned by a royal family member, and it's a quite a growing group in working in a different niche technologies and several industry domains.
Interesting. So a lot of visibility to Qatar because of the upcoming championship. I believe I want to myself visit once, but I will try. I'm not so big fan of football, but when there is a global event, it's always a good time to visit. So please, Ahmad, please tell us your view on the role of risk management in producing the business value through IT investment. What can you tell us about?
Indeed, it is actually a very broad topic that covers the whole, business functions and related support functions, and from a holistic point of view. In order to understand the role of risk management within the business context, first of all, we need to understand what exactly we mean by business value. In my definition, the way I do define this thing is business value is anything which a stakeholder demands. That could be an increase of profitability. That could be, the higher maturity level of the business processes. That could be, a more sustainable growth. And that could be more high, in developing an internal competency whatsoever. So within an organization, when we divide this organization, we generally divide it into three components, which is people, process, and technology. And that's these three components combining together drives the business, where we define our business stakeholders in the context of business, where some organizations, some entities play a role of customers and suppliers, internal customers and external customers, and so on. So in order to define and appropriate a more suitable governance framework for any organization, risk management function plays a pivotal role in that, where accepting this reality that the risk is an embedded component of each and every business, where every day we face a business, a risk of changing market dynamics, a new uncertain situation out there in the market, some like the problems with the supply, or some issues with the customer, changing the expectations and demands. So addressing the risk or managing the risk proactively has to be embedded within the core of business function. Now, our ground level challenges, which we have been generally felt by the business leaders, are they are not very much literate of how effectively they can treat the risks, because they are dealing with the risk on daily basis, consciously, unconsciously. They understand the business in a best way, but how to deal with such risks more proactively and more efficiently, that's where a need to have a proper formal risk management function in the organization, which primary role of that risk management function is to identify the risks of each and every different type within the business. That could be an operational risk, or enterprise risk, or market risk, or liquidity risk, or could be a continuity risk. Or more importantly, that could be a technology risk. So the risk management function basically defines a consolidated view of an organizational risk exposure.
Mhm.
Now, when we talk about the business value in the context of, or in relation to the risk management basically defines the or plays a role of the quality assurance over the effectiveness of the business processes. And when it comes to the effectiveness of the business processes, it is important to establish the clear roles and responsibilities, and related accountabilities as well. And that cannot be done if we don't have a proper business vision and mission, and for each departmental level objectives clearly defined. Under the light of business departmental objectives, the clear set of accountabilities needs to be established and monitored. Someone who has the executive leadership have a role of defining the direction and then overseeing the activity and the progress. Middle management has to link those directions and drive or execute the business operations under the given provided directions by the leadership. So this, and then down there, business operations or technology operations are basically needs to be executed based on the provided direction. So this is something which is called in the context of COBIT framework, which is an IT governance framework globally accepted, is a strategic alignment. So this is a very much a topic of the defining an effective governance framework for the organization, and a clear set of roles and responsibilities, and then there should be a monitoring and checking mechanism as well, which basically is played by the risk management. If we don't have an effectively functioning risk management function in any organization, we will not be able to monitor or pinpoint the risks, what is going wrong, what is not as per the alignment of the strategic direction of the leadership, and will not be able to monitor the efficiency from a performance point of view also. So when we come to a business value production through IT investments, what exactly mean is that every business today is heavily investing in developing or expanding their business. So there are a lot of business challenges which they are dealing with, where technology, when it comes to the picture, that plays a pivotal role in addressing a lot of business challenges, such as when cloud computing is one of the paradigm shifting technology where it has transformed the way the business used to work before.
Absolutely.
So investing in technology is basically one way of a survival for the future for any business today. So if we are not clear what is our direction, we will not be able to invest in technology in an effective way. So if we define a business value in the context of a bank, for example, or in a banking industry, of course, the increase, increase of the profitability is one could be the value in terms of like, and then technology should act as a business enabler within a bank to not only, to deliver the service through the technological means to the customers. In fact, it enhance the efficiency, of the performance of the processes, the delivery channels, you name it, as for example, the ATM machines, point of sale system, online banking, mobile banking, even the backend, the core banking system is linked with the electronic fund transfer, such as SWIFT. Mm-hmm. It's completely, they are enabled with the SFT, the STP, which is straight through processing. Okay. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to make the point here is that investing in IT is basically ensuring your survival for the future. That's mm-hmm. one of the sustainability factor, going concern factor as a business value. Mm-hmm. On top of it, once you are defining a direction of a business, and then we need to ensure how we make the business operations more efficient, which could be due to a cost reduction. It could be an enhancement of more technological infrastructure, and so on. Mm-hmm. Yep. So risk management plays a pivotal role in embedding the controls within each and every business process to assure the fact that when the business process is functioning as per the set objective for this or no. And on top of it, for each and every governance layer, risk management ensures the effectiveness and the efficiency for each function as well. From financial point of view, from functioning operational point of view, and of course, from a technological risk point of view as well. Okay, interesting. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, you made it very broad, and you kind of described very clear what kind of from the mission to the actual working environment, what has to be done. So because I was my question, I was in the past, I was myself a risk manager between IT and business and security and risk manager in the banking and also in a consulting company, and I worked with many industry, and where I worked, I saw major issue. Everything was in compartment, like, and nobody was talking about, like, silos mentality. And what do you have some ideas how to kind of get rid of such silos mentality?
I think you asked a wonderful question, and thank you. I mean, I would like to thank you for asking such an important question in this context. This is one of the growing business challenge for business leaders today, because one thing is that because of the more technological innovation and everything that brought more challenges to the business leaders to take timely decisions. On top of it, this disalignment of business functions, and they are not talking to each other, that always been a part of the larger corporates. And eventually it has been observed that, and that is more kind of a people issue rather than an organizational issue. That is why, from an organizational point of view, it is when I deal it or I recommend to my client and customers a solution in a bundled package manner to deal with this a very serious issue of disalignment of the functions in a very systematic way, and which considers the processes, which considers the technology, and the most importantly, people.
Mhm.
The corporate governance process, or the supporting processes for any governance mechanism that are built based on one concept, which is called referred as a strategic alignment. The alignment of each and every function has to happen from a leadership point of view, and then there's a middle management point of view and the operations point of view. So the strategic leadership has to be aligned. For example, I'll give an example. IT is running the IT operations in their own way, investing, in servers, in network infrastructure, but they are not able to solve the business issues. So, which means that they are working in their own way, and there's a serious disalignment with that. So, the business leadership and the CEO and the CIO has to sit down together in order to align the strategic direction, which business drives the IT. IT is a support function. And then the middle management has to sit and plan the business projects together, where IT is playing an important role. And the below, down there, the business operations has to be supported with the proper IT operations as well. So that's exactly is called as a multi-layered strategic alignment. And that happens with each and everything. For example, business versus HR, business versus finance, business versus risk management as well. Because risk management has to deal with the strategic layer, has to deal with the middle management, and down there in the business operations as well. So one thing is a strategic alignment, but whatever we do, it is imperative, or I would say in this way that it is almost near to impossible that these strategic alignment can be ever achieved if there is no strong leadership who understands the ground challenges and have a firm belief that the strategic alignment at each and every layer is the only solution. And that leadership has to be a people focused. So there should be endeavors where people should interact with each other. There should be more events where there's a positive environment. A culture has to be developed of knowledge sharing, supporting each other, helping each other. What I practice and preach in my organization, that to everyone, the people who report to me and those people whom I'm reporting to them as well, that I say to everyone that we are first good humans, then we are professionals. Mm-hmm. So if we are meeting with each other only for the work matters, that relation will not go that will not last long. So if we consider our the human traits, that if one of my colleague, if he's sick or he got tested positive, so I should be available to support him, and his family may be suffering and all that. So that's exactly helps us connecting together. So if the leaders will not exercise this principle, I don't think, in my opinion, that they will be able to cascade the right message down there, where every level have to practice the same thing to align with other functions as well. They need to go out there in the other departments as well to extend their support and be available for them. So that is one thing, I think, the solution for such silos and disalignments in the organizations.
Okay, interesting. So if we take, for example, life for an average risk manager, maybe because we are already close to our to finish of our interview, I would like to have two more questions. So if there is one thing that they should start to prioritize right now that they are not doing currently, what would it be? And maybe if you can, in a few words, give some tips or major takeaways from this interview so that they have in mind. Because you, of course, you created a good concept, a big picture. But if there are some good tips that you can give, like takeaways that they can give, take from this interview and bring to the workplace.
Yeah, so my message to all the risk management managers is that, I mean, they need to primarily work on 4 principles in order to ensure the production of business value through IT investments in a maximum way. The very first thing, as we rightly said, is like the IT alignment, the strategic alignment of IT with other functions. That has to happen at the C-suite level, that has to happen at the middle management level, and that has to happen at the operational level as well. So one is the strategic alignment. Second thing is defining the risk management framework for technology investments. That is imperative, that how we gonna identify and monitor the risks and how we're gonna treat it. Eventually, in order to treat any risk, you need a business function to jump in and to take a necessary action. So, but risk manager has to highlight and point that out to the business manager. Third thing is we need to have a mechanism of a proper performance measurement of each and every process management. 4 is a mechanism of resource management, because if we are and resource not include each and everything, technology, people, and logistics and everything. The last but not foremost is risk management, performance management, resource management, and the last but foremost, the most important is the value delivery.
Okay.
How we make sure that what value has been produced, what lessons were learned, and that processes for the benefit realization has to be established.
Okay, great. So maybe the last question, because you recently joined our community, global risk community, and I would like to ask you perhaps how can we contribute better to understanding of this complex world of risk from my own perspective? Maybe you can give us some tips. How to improve.
Certainly, I personally believe that I'm a bit late joiner for this community, though I recently came to know that there's such a global level of community which I should be joining, and without any delay, I immediately posted a request. When I think when you're already doing the efforts in the best way. Establish the community, you are hosting such knowledge sharing sessions and connecting the risk professionals globally. And this is, I think, the best we can do in order to learn together, to create a chance to learn from each other, to share the knowledge, and especially from people from different geographies, from different cultures and different industry segments. So I wish you the best, and I once again thank you for giving me the chance to come on board and to express my share my experience here.
Absolutely, thank you, Ahmad, for your very thoughtful interview, and I wish you and your company great success, and hope to hear more about Qatar. You are first guest from Qatar and on our show.
Certainly, I'm looking forward to join more sessions when whatever.
Absolutely.
Chance. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you.